And welcome back once again to Memoirs of the Father. I am your host, the Father, Alex Burnham. How is everybody doing today? As always, I hope that you are doing fantastic. And I promise you, we are going to have a hot episode today. We are going to talk about motivation and we are going to talk about mindset on this last leg here to Nationals. As I'm recording this, we probably have around 30 days before high school nationals is going to start. College nationals is next weekend. So this may come out right going into that. So this is probably not going to benefit the college people that are listening. Or I mean, it might. I have no idea. But I will stress that throughout a lot of my videos on TikTok, throughout a lot of my stuff on podcasting, so as we're going to shift and we're going to talk here about motivation, we're going to talk about mindset. And I'm just going to preface this to you. I've been very neutral and very supportive of a lot of things in my videos. That's getting ready to change because that's not who I am. That is the right approach. That's the right way to look at it. But we're going to talk about things from my perspective. This is not Memoirs of the Father. This is me. This is me. This is Alex Burnham. This is me. This is the ego. This is everything that I am really about and everything that I bring to the table. That's the stuff that we're going to address because that's the only way that I know how to talk about it. That's the only way that I know how to put myself in the position to put those shoes on, to get ready to do the things that you're getting ready to ask your athletes, or you may be an athlete in those positions getting ready to do. I don't have time to be everybody's friend and pat you on the back. I got stuff to take care of. I've got business to handle. And I have an ego. And I want to preface a lot of this by saying you have to have a little bit of an ego to get the job done. There has to be some part of you that genuinely believes in what you're capable of, who you are. To sit there and say that in this situation, in this stress, in this moment, through all this adversity, I am capable. And I will. It doesn't matter what your name is. It doesn't matter how many banners you have to look at in your gym, how many trophies you get to stroll down and look at the hallway. On this day, it's you and it's me. And I believe that I am the best. I believe that I am more prepared for this moment. And for the next 2.5 minutes when I go out on that floor, I'm going to demonstrate that to you with the way that I walk, with the way that I move, with the way that I stunt, with the Christmas, with everything that I am. I am going to prove to you a point that I believe I am the best. I believe that I'm the best because I'm prepared. I believe that I'm the best because I'm ready. I believe that the best because under this situation and these circumstances, I would take you in the river and drown you and not miss a beat. This is the moment that I've wanted. This is the moment that I've worked for, and I will take it. And there is nothing that you can do to stop it. There is nothing that anybody can do to change what is going to happen. That is the ego that you have to bring to the table. The indomitable spirit, the never back down. I never die. My dreams don't stay dreams. They become my memories. That's the type of individual that I have to be when the music comes on. That's the type of individual that my team needs me to be. That's the type of individual that my kids are going to look at and expect from me. Heartless, ruthless, and with intent and with purpose. I will run through you. I will bury you. If I've got a teammate that can't do it, I will drag you across the line myself. That is the attitude that you have to have. You have to be indomitable. That's what we're going to talk about today. That is the reality of what you have to be, the intensity that you have to carry, the reality that you have to live in, the variables that you truly have to understand to be that guy, to be that place, to be in that moment. It's a switch, and you may be able to tell, but I flipped it really, really fast. It's natural to me. It's not natural to everybody. I did this for 20 years. At the top, at the very, very top, every single year. I only fell out of the top 3 one time since I've been doing this. It was win or runner-up 95% of the time. I know what I'm doing. I know how to handle it. I know how to handle the pressure. I have 14 national championships. And now I'm going to turn it back off. And I'm going to talk to you like normal. And I'm going to teach you. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to bring you along because this is the things that I have to do. That's the way that it goes. That's how you flip that switch. Not everybody can do it. A lot of it kind of gets in with your chemistry and gets with your mode. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is, as a coach, what we should be looking at. And as a team, we're going to kind of fill in the dots and go with it along as we go, okay? But I want a lot of this to be geared towards how do I stay focused? How do I stay motivation? What are the things that I need to be doing to preparing myself, and what are the things? First thing that we're going to talk about, and I want to bring this up because this is from a coach's perspective. Usually around this time, every single year of the teams that I would compete at, we would go to the Moorhead Showcase. We do the Moorhead Showcase. It's right after Christmas break. We come back. We have 1 week to get ready, and it is a really rough and really intense week. And we are going to take you, and we're going to go perform with all these colleges. We're going to put you in a very uncomfortable environment, and you're going to have very limited reps coming off of this break, and we're going to expect you to get stuff done. To hit. Because whatever does not hit, we're taking it out. When we come home, we are going to change things, and we will take it out, or we will change it to make it work. Because we only have like 30 days left, which is about the same time frame that you have right now. You should not have a routine that you're uncomfortable with. If something drops here and there, that's one thing. If something is consistently causing you a problem, right now is the time to take it out, because it will cause issues for you. It will cause issues for your team. It will affect their confidence. It will affect the way that they think about it. That's the first advice that I can give you. If you want to do it your way, that's more than perfectly fine. I just want you to know that all the years that I did this, I had a really, really great win rate. The years that we did not win were the years that we did not stand true to this and did not change things. That's truth. That's real. I'll fact check you right now. Every single bit of it. Every single bit of it's true. What I just stated. From that event, about 5 weeks out from Nationals. Whatever made mistakes there, or whatever we tried to make harder or messed up on, we always paid the price for it. Every single time. The times where we did what we knew we were supposed to do, if it was a problem and we took it out, then we went on to win. If we went there and we hit, we didn't have any issues that year, we also went on to win. It's very much, I believe, at least with the way that we coursed and we ran that routine, it was very much the way that I saw it. So that's one thing to look at. Okay? Now, ideally, what you want, if I'm an athlete at this point in time, okay, like I said, we're a few weeks out, time is dwindling down. This is the time where you need to be all in, okay? Because you're running out of time. You're almost out of it completely. That time doesn't tick away as loudly as the hands of a clock. It slips silently, like the sand in an hourglass. And that time passes. Hopefully at this point, you understand that you have to be all in. This is that time where I'm not doing a lot of extra stuff. I'm doing what I need to do in school to make sure that I can continue to be a cheerleader. I'm being responsible at home. I mean, you know, you've got work, you got responsibilities, you got it. I'm limiting the amount of time that I'm going out. I am limiting the amount of time that I am not focusing on cheerleading. I'm not sitting there obsessing and stressing about stuff while I'm at home, but I am eating meals in a way that is going to put me in a better physical condition for this. Like, I'm not going out to McDonald's and I'm not eating trash. I'm not eating Pizza Hut, stuff like that. I'm being smart about how I approach this. I'm not saying that you got to eat salads and, grill all your chicken or stuff like that. But you need to be mindful because you need to eat in a way that is going to provide your body energy. Because from this point on, it's cold. Maybe you're down there in Florida and you got some wacky weather or something like that. There's stuff going on. And you have school. You're stressed. Your body's beat up and fatigued right now. You're on this last stretch. So you need to start eating in a way that is going to benefit you. Because that will also help you maintain good sleep pattern. I'm going to rest when I can. That doesn't mean be lazy and sit on the couch and be a nobody. If I need to get up and do some activity during the day, I got to run on the treadmill, go to the gym, get some laps in, something like that. I want to stay like a decent level of physically active, but I'm not trying to do anything that's going to go and abuse my body. But going and maintaining, getting your heart rate up, maybe if you need to do like some light lifts and stuff like that, that stuff is not a bad idea at this time. Because hopefully, you're probably doing stuff every single day right now, or you're getting ready to. hopefully you're not having to spend 2, 3, and 4 hours. Because our goal is, once we knew that routine was kind of at a pace, we know that we're only going to have like 2 or 3 full outs of nationals, so that's kind of what we're limiting to ourselves to. And then we're just working on our technical stuff, making sure our technique's nice and strong and polished. So ideally, you're just coming into the gym and you're taking care of the things that you need to, and then you can get out of there. No risk overdoing it. No, there's no point doing anything outside of what I need to do. My basic warm up, what I need to do to get through the routine, the amount of full outs that I'm going to be doing, stuff of that nature. Coaches, hopefully, you are putting your kids in as much of an uncomfortable environment as constantly as you can. That means performances as at many basketball games that you can get to. Any performance that you can get to anywhere. Showcases, exhibitions, performing at games, exposing them to as much stuff, getting them in front of a crowd as much as possible so they learn to handle those nerves, because it's a different when you're on your last leg and everything's kind of dwindling down, that time starting to crunch. So hopefully you're getting them out there and you're getting them in those environments. You need to, as much as possible. As much at this point, practice is important and it matters. Nothing is more valuable than having practice time in front of a crowd. Have practices where you invite people to come in. If you've got teams in your area, go and practice with them and have people around, have people in the gym while you're trying to fix stuff, while you're coaching. Put them in environments, put pressure on them as much as you can, because that is invaluable experience. Handling that pressure, being used to the crowd, being used to noise and the attention and other people trying to do stuff. I cannot begin to tell you how valuable that is. The amount of performances that we would probably do in the month of January would be close to 28, if not more. And I mean that we would, like I said, I can sit here and almost name every single one of them to you. We would go to Murray State and we would perform there at the halftime of a college basketball game. Hopefully it's a big one if we're playing like Austin Peay or something like that. We go do the Moorhead Showcase, perform 3 times. All these big colleges are around, all these other teams that are geared up towards nationals. We would do the V-Rock Showcase, another chance to be in front of people, get some criticism from some judges, get experience in front of a crowd and other high caliber teams. Every single basketball game that we could get out there in front of, especially if it was a boys varsity game and you knew the house was going to be packed, we made sure to be there. We would travel and practice with the Graves a whole bunch, or they would come up and practice with us, or when I was at Graves, we would go practice in McCracken, or we'd find time. Like, we did competitions, like we did the Infinity Showcase. We had that hosted that here, and we competed against teams like Blackman and Graves County, tough teams that had national championship aspirations that we also had, and exposing us to being in front of as many people as much as we can. Sometimes we drive down to Tennessee, which is about an hour and a half drive, and do a showcase down there. Every single chance that we could to get out there and get in front of people and expose them. Especially even, when we got down to Florida, people talk about that big football practice. That's a big deal because you're testing them. It's exposure. It's being able to handle. It's a really great test for nationals that you really don't get before there, because what are the odds that you're going to be on a football field somewhere and there's going to be 1,600 teams there also trying to do stuff. As much exposure as you can get and put them in as many of an uncomfortable environment as you can, and put the attention on them constantly. If you get that schedule and you know what time you're going to compete, start running it around that time, getting their bodies used to that, being ready for that moment. And there's so many little details that you can do. So many things. And lots of people have them, we have all kinds of traditions and stuff that we would do to keep focused. We would do little bonding activities. Like, we did this little candle thing that I kind of thought was stupid, but the kids liked it, so we just kept doing it. And they would light a candle and turn around and talk about whatever they wanted to, and that involvement and reminding them what it's all about and what you're here for. It's not... I think as an athlete, what I would sit here and I would say, what you need to understand right now is that because you have limited time, your skin needs to become a lot thicker. Because as a coach, I don't necessarily have time to blow smoke up your ass anymore. I don't have time to say, oh, that was so perfect, that's so good. I really need to talk about the things that we need to talk about. So a lot of my stuff that's going to come out of my mouth is more correction oriented. I used to tell my kids, I was like, I'm the father. I don't have time to be your daddy right now. That's what I would tell them. That's what this is going to be like. I need to be able to talk freely about the things that are an issue so that we can fix those issues. If you need positive affirmation constantly, this is not a great time because our time is dwindling down and I don't want to waste the time that I have. I am going to be speaking about the things that we have to do. Will I remind you of positive stuff? Yes. But there are going to be times where I really have to focus in on the negatives of what we're going to do because we have to fix that. So I think just being open, everything that you're being told is to put you in a better position. Okay, I don't care if it's said to you meanly, angrily. People get frustrated, and I know they're not supposed to. But you got to understand, everybody's dreams are tied to this moment, yours included. People are just trying to put themselves in a situation where they feel comfortable and get things into a position where they need them to be in. And you need to be able to accept that. Okay, it's not to make you cry. It's not to make you feel like trash. It's to just be realistic. And people want to have that open conversation and open dialogue. And if you can allow those things to happen, if you can take some of the hard shot, because if you need to take a hard shot, it's better to take it right now than have some judge down there in Florida tell you that. And I can promise you that's the truth. Okay, so just be prepared to hear more criticism, and that's fine. Maybe more criticism than you ever heard. Maybe be prepared to only hear about some of the criticism. That's realistic, and that's okay because you have to be capable of handling those things. And it's a sense of preparation because you'll get down to a moment when you're going to start questioning yourself, especially as the days lead up to this. You're going to start questioning, am I really ready? And you're going to have all these things to fall back on. That's why this experience matters. All that time when you're in front of the crowd, all that criticism, all that stuff, every single variable, you should be able to understand it and you should be able to control it. And you should be able to know how to get out of it in the event that you can no longer control it. How to save and move and dip and dive and make things work if you need to. That's where all this stuff comes from. That's the you, okay? That's where you're going to build a lot of your confidence off of. Looking at your experience. Nobody truly believes they can do anything without some kind of provocation. There has to be some outstanding reason why an individual believes that they're capable of something. And, when we get into that ego, the ego is really just that realization. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can be egotistical, and I'm not talking about egotistical. I'm talking about having a sense of awareness and a sense of self-pride and a sense of understanding what you've been through. Okay? That is a lost variable between the people that can and the people that cannot. Okay? It's all about what goes on up here in your head. But it's not really, sometimes you have to be able to convince yourself of that because your mind always wants to play tricks on you. Guys, this is just going to be a giant summary of everything that I've been talking about, okay? Your mind will want to play tricks on you and it will tell you that you're not capable, that you're not worthy, that you're not ready. It will try to do what it's got to do to protect you because that's its mechanism. Because it feels like if you always expect disappointment, then you'll never be disappointed. That's from Mary Jane, Spider-Man. I used to know a young lady that would say that to me quite a bit. And that's one way to look at it. But if you expect disappointment, then you're never going to achieve what you're capable of. If you just look at all the ways that you can fail, you'll never look for that road. You'll never find that road out. That road to the promised land, that road to get you where you got to go. That's why I talk about you have to have this sense of ego and this sense of understanding. And that is built off of your experience. I can find the path. I know that I can because I have before. I've done it countless times. I understand that there is a way. I understand that I can do all these things, that I should make certain things click faster. I get that. I've got that experience. I've been that guy. I do that. You may not know how to. So I'm telling you how. You look at what you've done. You look at your experience. You look at the history of your competitions, how you've done. You look at the reps that you've done at practice. You look at the environments that you've been in. And you're able to realize the reality of this. Nationals is not any different from practice. There are complexities added onto that. Oh, we're at Disney World. Oh, the ESPN cameras are here. Oh, there's thousands of people in the arena, but when the music starts, is it any different? Does any of that stuff, the fact that there's a crowd, the fact that there's cameras, the fact that it's the national championship, the fact that it's Disney World, does any of that really change what you came to do? Does any of that affect what you try to accomplish every single day in practice? They're amplifiers, they're distractions. They are there to magnify the moment. The moment is still the same. The goal is still the same as it is every single practice of every single full out. There is no difference. The only thing is that you're tricked into believing that it is. Don't be wrong, it is a moment and it is the moment. But if you treat every single moment, every single full out like it's the moment, if you are prepared to handle this crowd, if you're prepared to handle the noise, if you're prepared to handle the pressure and the attention from all the things that you've done, and if you look back at your body of work, I'm sure then you're more than capable of figuring out that yes, you can. Then you start winning the game in your head. I know that I'm killing this episode. I'm sorry to be so egotistical like that, but like I feel like this is the real me, you know. I feel that coursing through my veins right now. That I'm so vicious as a competitor. I really am. Because I believe. And I have so much history to back up what I think and what I say. And there has never been anything truer than the stuff that I'm saying to you right now. Never. And I know that. I've been down this road so many times. I grew up a poor kid living in a trailer in one of the poorest counties in one of the poorest states in this country. And there were 14 occasions where I left an event with a national championship in about 20 years. Not really 20 years, about 20 years, which means less. I had over 75% of the time I was a national champion. If you don't think that I got a little bit of ego from that, if you don't think that those shortcomings, those challenges, those difficulties on a personal level didn't help me evolve, didn't help put me in a position, well, then you don't know the game. Because you see, this, if you're someone out there, someone is going to relate to this on a different level. It's, when that music starts, it's not about the money anymore. Not how much money you have, not how much money they have. It's not about who had to do the most tumbling classes. It's not about who could afford this or that. The name on your chest, that program, it's all on the line. It's all being tested. There are no other variables but you versus me. And I know how to fight. And I know how to claw. I've had nothing. I've been nothing. And I'm not going back to that. And I will die on that mat to prove it to you. And if you beat me, awesome. Because I promise you, if you beat me, it took the best effort that you had. It's just that simple. That's how you make it. I didn't just get this way because I thought that. You never do. Never in the beginning. Like I said, there are things that will validate the way that you feel about yourself, whether it's crazy or bad or whatever it is. When you think that you're great, there's a reason why you think that. And if you believe in it enough, I don't care if it's the truth or not. If you believe in that enough, if that resonates with you strong enough that it impacts the way that you attack and your mindset and your confidence, then is it really a lie? I'm not one to need a lot of motivation. To me, it's always been pretty simple. 365 days is what I put into this, and I didn't do it for nothing. I don't need a lot of motivation. I really don't. I want to win. I always want to win. I want to be the best at every single thing that I do. I'm never even in the damn dance and I still want to be the best dancer. I'm never in the jumps. I still want to be the best jumper. I'm in the stunts. I want to be the best stunner. Hell, I'm not even a top girl. But if I was, I'd want to be the best. Why? Because that's what you work for. If you're not trying to better yourself, if you're not trying to improve yourself, to achieve, to obtain whatever it is, the most that you can get, then you don't need to be doing it. You're going to fail. You will fail. There's a lot of hungry people out there, man, that have been picking up scraps for years, striving, being a me when I was young. And you believe in something and you're chewing off knobs on bones of ribs and just picking scraps and fighting to survive because the world hasn't understood what you know. And when they get a chance to sit at the table, they're going to tear it up. When they get the chance to walk in that arena, they're going to set the place on fire. They will not hesitate because they got that hunger. You can't survive in this world becoming complacent. You can't survive in this sport becoming complacent. You cannot fall apart because you don't want it anymore. If you're not, like I said, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something to achieve towards, if you don't have a dog in the fight, man, then you're going to get pushed over because there's just too many hungry people, too many people that want to reach that mountain. Too many. And they'll tear through you to get it. I know, because I would. Like I said, I'm vicious. I know what I've been through. I know what the people with me have been through. I know what we want. I know what we achieve. I know our story. I don't know yours. I don't even care. My story matters because that's what I know. That's what I'm invested in. That's the dog I've got in the fight. And whatever we're trying to do, I'm going to do it. Too many people depend on me. Too many people depend on me. I depend on me. I don't care if anybody believes in me. I know. I've got all the evidence. I've got the experience. I've got the stuff that everybody hasn't seen. I've seen this journey through my eyes, and through my eyes, I have found a way. Through my eyes, I can look back and see everything that I've done and know and believe and build off that. And because of that, when that moment comes, I know I'm going to kill it. And I am going to put everybody, if you are the least bit scared of me, you've already lost to me. That's the way that I talk it, because I'm not going to. You have to understand, you're like, how can you sit there and say, oh, I'm not going? Because it's a choice. It's always been a choice. You make the choice. You decide who you are, what you're capable of. Now, yes, it's you and your partner, but we are one, and that's what we've been pushing for. That's one of these team dynamics that we talk about. You should be pushing to have a one-team mindset, a one-functioning brain. We all are on the same page. We have reached that point, what we call the peak. We are all at that point of sustained level of confidence, sustained level of absolute mental control. We all are pushing towards a same objective. We all understand the variables of what we're doing. We all understand every aspect of technique of what we're trying to perform. We all understand what it means to be in front of a crowd. We all understand what the pressure is. We all understand how to make the world small when it's never seemed bigger. There were times when I was an athlete and I had to look around at my team and realize maybe I didn't do what I was supposed to. And those are hard things to live with. But I am telling you how I dug myself out of that. How I controlled the emotion, how I controlled the environment. I am so singularly focused on what I want to do. That's another way that you block all this stuff out. And we're going to wrap this up with this. To be singularly focused on what I came here to do. Like I said, everything else, those are details. That's noise. The crowd, the Orlando, the charter, the train. Your body's prepared at this point. If you've done all these things I've said about, if Expose yourself to as much stressful situations. If you have a routine that you have confidence in, if you have the experience to look back and be able to fall back on in your times of doubt, then you know where you need to be. You can be singularly focused. You can block out all that stuff and focus on what you need to. You can be mindful of all these things. I know when to conserve my energy. I know when to explode. I know to stay hydrated. All that basic stuff. You know all these things. The most important thing, I think, at least from this national standpoint, the most important thing don't let yourself get built up too early. Because if you try to tap into this energy and this intensity, you can't win a national championship on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? You're probably not going to win one on Friday unless they start doing events on Friday. You got stages. It's okay to make mistakes here and there, but you need to stay focused when you get out there. And it's about controlling that energy, because you don't need to be getting wound up if you don't go out on the floor for 3 or 4 more hours. Because what's going to happen is when you get out there in front of that crowd and you get this intensity, and there is going to be a little bit of anxiety that sets on you, regardless of how much your confidence is. The anxiety and the intensity of the moment is legitimately going to settle on you. And it will operate on your body the same way that fear does. Your anxiety, your energy, your body, your heart rate, all that stuff picks up. Well, you cannot maintain that for a very long time, or otherwise your body is going to start to crash. Okay, that's why we talk about it's. Maybe you're listening to your music, maybe you're getting focused. You got to have something that you can do to kind of block things out. Whether that's whatever time you go over to the venue, whatever time you go to the arena, how you pace yourself with your food. There's lots of different variables and lots of different ways you can approach it. For me, I just try to be as calm as possible. I get in the arena, I try to relax. I'm going to watch some teams, I'm going to listen to music. I'm going to stay in an environment that's as cool as I can find, because I overheat really quick. So I'm going to find somewhere with some really good air conditioning. I'm just going to try to hunker down, enjoy my moment. And then, as time goes on, when they tell me, hey, it's time to start taping up, then I'm going to start making that shift. I'm going to start getting that focus, whether that's something you do by listening to music, getting in the right mindset. It does take a little bit of time to build me up. I can turn it on really fast. But, I'm trying to be smart and be conservative of what I want to do. I want to pace myself, because when I get on that floor is when I want the explosion to happen. From the start to the finish, the warm-up, all that stuff, I'm really trying to stay in control of my body, make sure that I'm checking off that list so that when I go out there, now I have additional confidence from how I performed in the weight room. Now I have a understanding of being in the warm-up room is a really hectic environment, and you've got lots of people around. Lots of these, just a little test run, a little bit of an experience of what I'm going to get on the floor, and now I know I'm ready. I can handle it. Then at that point, after my warm up, make sure I'm watered up, make sure I got my breath back, and I'm going to start building myself up. And when we come out there, it's time to go. That is the way that you should approach that. I think that's one of the best ways, because you see a lot of people just get wound up, because you don't know, you might come out of that warm up room and it might be 25-30 minutes before you go. Somebody could get hurt, somebody could get sick on the mat, stuff changes and shifts, goes like that. You got to be able to pace yourself. And that's why I said, when you come out there, there's a time to breathe. Then you go back to that warm up, you can build confidence off of that warm up. You can build all that stuff. You start drumming yourself up in your head. That's what I like to do. And then by the time, now that I've got myself, now I know what I go out on this for. I've got 2.5 minutes, and I can really let this energy pour out. I can really let all this anxiety off of my chest. I can just kind of live and experience the moment, and all that build up, all that confidence, all that ego, all that stuff, that positive energy can just kind of gush out of me. That's the goal, okay? That's when you're in control of yourself, okay? But you got to practice and carry yourself that way too, because if you're all these things I'm talking about, getting that experience from a crowd, and that's how that anxiety and that fear is going to affect you. Having that clap back, having that energy, having that come out there and get it. You need to do those things when you're having those performances so that you can prepare yourself from having gone through that situation as much as possible. But also, when you get out there and you get in the big moment and you're really just letting your energy fly, then you have a little bit of a handle on what you're doing. It can't just be erratic, crazy energy. It has to be with intent. And we've talked about this already. Everything that you do should be with intent. Okay? I think that is pretty much going to sum up exactly what I mean. Okay? So, hopefully you've gotten something outstanding from this video. Hopefully I've given you lots of food to chew on. Hopefully I have created a path for you. That's the goal. with everything that I do. You know, this is why we go through all what we go through. Everything is to be preparation for this moment. The real question is, are you prepared right now? And it's okay if you're not 100% ready, but you should be pretty close to ready. You want to be peaking here the next few weeks, ideally, you know, or the week before nationals, and kind of getting that grind. Maybe right. You know, you ideally, you know, you don't have to go crazy right now, but your confidence and your comfortability should be growing every day. Not too much comfortable, but your confidence should be growing every single day. Okay, so that's what your focus needs to be here. And you have to keep in mind all these things that do. It is going to be stressful. It is going to be anxiety. Sometimes things are not going to work. Keep yourself composed and trust your coaches to make the right decision. Trust the people around you to do what they got to do. And look back at your experience and trust yourself that you're capable of handling the moment. And that's what we're going to wrap on for today. Hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I am peaking. My heart is racing. I got into this one. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I look forward to watching everybody else go. I'm excited for this Nationals. I'm excited for everything that's going to come out of it. I'm excited to have some really fun things to talk. And I'm excited to see the people that are going to be able to handle the things that I just talked about. And I'll see you next time on Memoirs of the Father. Goodbye and good night.